Good morning to all of you. Today we are going to discuss with nuclear binding energy. Last class we have seen the nuclear science and density of the nucleus. So inside of the nucleus, nucleons are there, neutrons and protons. Atomic nucleus is a stable structure. So nucleons in every nucleus are bound together with short range interacting force. They are called nuclear force. Strong nuclear force. So it is independent of charge. It exists between neutron and neutron, neutron and proton, and proton and proton with the same strength, no G. It is independent of charge. So that nuclear force binds the nucleons inside the nucleus, and you are familiar with the density of the nucleus. In the last class we have seen the density. So all the nucleons are bonded by this nuclear force. So if you want to separate them and take them to far distance, certain amount of work is to be done. So that amount of work then required to separate the nucleons to far distance. So that we call it as binding energy. So a definite amount of work has to be done to separate the nucleon from the nucleus to such a distance that there is no interaction. So this work done is the measure of nuclear binding energy. So this is the way how it organizes. Binding energy of a nucleus is therefore the energy with which the nucleons are bound in the nucleus. How to measure it? It is measured by the work required to be done to separate the nucleons to far away distance from the nucleus so that they may not interact with each other. That is the way we measure it, we recognize it, we define it. So we see what is the origin of nuclear binding energy. Suppose we consider a nucleus X and A. So you can see the number of protons inside the nucleus is equal to Z. Number of neutrons in the nucleus is A minus Z. You are considering the nucleus X at A, number of proton, it is in the Z, and number of neutron is A. Suppose mass of the proton is represented by MP, mass of the neutron is represented by M small m. And if you measure the mass of the nucleus, it is represented by M capital N. M capital N stands for mass of the nucleus. So, what is the total mass of nucleons? Mass of the protons plus mass of the neutron will give you separately the total mass of the nucleon. Separately, if you measure. And M capital stands for mass of the nucleus. So, total mass of the nucleons I am writing here equal to Z M plus A minus Z M. Number of protons in the protons plus number of neutrons. So this is the total mass of the nucleons. Okay, and this is the mass of the nucleus. So you can see that the mass of the nucleus is always found to be slightly less than the sum of the mass of constituting nucleons. This is the mass of the constituting nucleon, and this is the mass of the nucleus. There will be slightly difference in that. So mass of the nucleus is always found to be, okay, this mass of the nucleus is always slightly less than the sum of the rest masses of the neutrons and protons composing the nucleus. That means when this many nucleons come together to form a nucleus, certain mass disappears. Mass of the nucleus is going to be less than the sum of the constant nuclear mass. So some mass disappears. This difference in the mass we call it as mass defect. Difference in the mass we call it as mass defect delta n. This is equal to mass over nucleon minus mass over nucleus. This is called mass. So the rest mass of the nucleus is always slightly less than the sum of the rest mass of free neutrons and protons composing the nucleus. This is as if certain mass disappears in the formation of nucleus. This difference between the sum of the mass of neutrons and protons forming a nucleus and the mass of the nucleus is called mass defect. According to Einstein equation, so the origin of binding energy can be explained by using or can be measured by using Einstein equation. So the binding energy can be calculated by Einstein equation as equivalency square. Here M stands for mass defect delta MC. The binding energy of nucleus is taken from the mass defect. The mass defect calculated and binding energy is calculated as delta MC square. So it is this mass defect which appears in the form of binding energy responsible for binding all the nucleons together in the. So what is the equation for binding energy for this concept? So binding energy of a nucleus is known as delta ZMP plus A minus Z Mn minus M capital N mass of the nucleus. This is the binding energy. This is the binding energy of it. Usually, how to calculate in numerical? We find out the mass defect. Once you recognize the mass defect and corresponding to 1 atomic mass unit, the energy equal 931 megajoule. So we convert this. This is standard conversion we use for calculating binding energy. Okay, first we calculate mass defect. If mass defect is 0.02, multiply this 0.0 to the 931, you get the binding energy. For any nucleus, we can calculate the binding energy. So this is the equation for calculating the binding energy. So binding energy of the nucleus is ZMP plus A minus Z Mn minus N capital N C square. So this is the equation. Mass defect we calculate, and from the mass defect we use the standard conversion for calculating the binding energy. So it's a very important term, binding energy of nucleus. So the stability of a nucleus is measured in terms of binding energy. Greater the binding energy, greater the stability of the nucleus. And usually we calculate not the entire binding energy of the nucleus, we calculate binding energy per nucleon. So what is the meaning of binding energy per nucleon? Binding energy per nucleon is total binding energy calculated divided by nucleon number. Binding energy per nucleon. This is equal to binding energy divided by mass number. Mass number, that means total number of nucleons. Right. So mainly all the calculations are based on binding energy per nucleon. You can calculate for any nucleus. Some examples are given. Next is binding energy curve. Of course, this is not there in the syllabus, but just I am explaining for recognizing nuclear fission and fusion binding energy curve. So binding energy per nucleon for different nucleus you can learn. Just for hydrogen, helium, okay, carbon, oxygen, iron, uranium, etc. We calculate the binding energy. Same equation we calculate. Mass defect calculate, multiply with the 931 mega electron volt, you will get total binding energy divided by mass number, that will give you binding energy per nucleon. So we find out the binding energy per nucleon of almost all nucleus and we plot a graph that is called binding energy curve. It's a variation of binding energy per nucleon with mass number. binding energy curve. The variation of binding energy curve shows variation of binding energy per nucleon with mass number. Binding energy per nucleon is the mass number A. This is binding energy per nucleon in mega. And these values are marked here, maximum 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. The highest binding energy is 8.854 iron 56. That is the maximum. Okay. And here we are starting from 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, 150. 175, 200, 225, so we want up to uranium 238. So the variation is approximately, it is like this. Some of the values are already calculated. Uranium 238. 25 centimeters here will be around 7. Uranium 238. Iron 56. Highest value. This is around here. 50 and 56 is around peak value. This is around 8.85 mega electron volt per nucleon. This is around 7.7 mega electron volt per nucleon. So you can see this value, and majority of the nucleus, like nucleus, are coming. So the variation of the graph is like this. From here you go for hydrogen 1h2, 1h3, then helium is going here up. So the variation of the graph is of this form. Okay, variation of the graph is of this form, this binding energy curve. What are the important conclusions from here? These are the light nuclei H2 and H3, and this is for helium. Okay, this is for C12, okay, and 14. And this is Li7. So we are getting some nucleus here, their values are like this is mass number 025. Light nuclei are having comparatively low value of binding energy per nucleon. And C for uranium, its value is less. The light nuclei binding energy per nucleon is less, and heavy nucleus, uranium 238, etc., their binding energy per nucleon is less. But in between here, you can see a range. This is called mid-range, around 30 to 120. Their binding energy values comparatively very high. So mid-segment nucleus are comparatively very stable. So next our topic is, especially is mentioned in your syllabus, is nuclear fission and fusion. So uranium-2 is a heavy nucleus, is unstable. Okay, when slow neutrons are collided over this, it splits into mid-segment nucleus. One of such reaction is barium and krypton, they are coming in this range. So binding energy per nucleon is increasing. So the difference in the binding energy will be released during this kind of process that is called nuclear fission reaction. Heavy nucleus splits into two or more or less equal fragments of mid-size range. So this is the gain. When it is coming here, there is a gain in binding energy per nucleon. What The difference that is the release during. We'll see the example. Now, nuclear fusion reaction, like you can see the light isotopes, hydrogen. Their value of binding energy very less. But they can, when they go to helium, so comparatively higher value. So light nuclear combine just like hydrogen, 1H1, 1H2, 1H3, they combine and form a helium. This is called fusion, fusing light nuclear, and they are going to helium. Its binding energy is comparatively high, and it is stable. So that it's when you go from light to here, it is a heavy side. There is a gaining binding energy. What is the difference that is released during the fusion reaction? This is the way how we explain fission and fusion. Fission means splitting into two mid-segment, and fusion, light nuclei combined will comparatively. So during this process, there is a gain. So that difference in the binding energy will be released reactions. So this is the way how we get energy from the nucleus. The two process, nuclear fission. This is the way how we recognize. This graph is not there in your syllabus forms here. But we just recognize the way because main discussion is coming from the side. So the shape of the graph you can learn. There is no need to learn exactly the shape of the graph to remember. So the conclusion from the graph, because in this format, the graph will be right now here, three peaks are there. Easy to draw the diagram. You can practice. Three peaks. Okay. Easy to draw the diagram. So this is the way diagram is going to go. Variation is binding energy curve, binding energy for nuclear with mass. So what are the some information we are getting from here? Means light nuclei, for example, 1H2, 1H3, their binding energy is very less. And in between mass numbers ranging from 2 to 20. Helium is there, carbon is there, and nitrogen is there, oxygen, all this value. That means helium, first the helium, then carbon, then oxygen. So their values are very high. And so that means they are relatively very stable with respect to their neighborhoods. And the maximum value is coming for 8.85 for iron 56. And average value is 8.5 in the range 30 to 120 mass number. And as the mass number increases, you can see that binding energy will increase. And for uranium, if you remember, you can calculate this around 7.6 mega electron volt per moon. That uranium-230. So that is the binding energy. So importance of binding energy curve means when we move from heavy nuclear region to middle region, there will be gain in binding energy and hence there will be release of energy. So this indicates that energy can be released when a heavy nucleus just like 230 to 40 breaks into roughly two equal pieces. This process is recognized as nuclear fission. Similarly, when we move from light nuclear to heavy, that is from hydrogen 1H2, 1H3 to helium nucleus we go, then there will be again overall binding energy gain. So this indicates that energy can be released when two or more light nuclei fuse together to form a heavy nucleus. This process we call it as a nuclear fusion reaction. Nuclear reaction. Next, we are discussing nuclear fusion and fission with example. They are very important. The next point is what is the nuclear fission reaction? There are different types. First one, so nuclear fission means. So there are two different ways of getting energy from the nucleus. What are the two different ways? First one is nuclear fission and second one nuclear fusion. Fission means heavy nucleus into mid-segment nucleus, breaking, splitting of heavy nucleus into mid-segment. And fusion means combining of light nuclei into heavy nucleus. So next is what is the nuclear fission reaction? Nuclear fission. So nuclear fission is the phenomenon of splitting of heavy nucleus, especially mass number greater than 230 into 2 or more lighter nuclei. So here also in this process, there is a difference in the mass. The sum of the mass of the final products is found to be slightly less than the sum of the mass of the reacting components. Here, mass of the products, final products mass is slightly less than sum of the mass of the reacting components. Final mass is less than initial mass, remember that. So this difference we call it as mass defect, and correspondingly, according to Einstein equation, energy is released as delta mc square, that energy is released during this reaction. And this energy we call it as Q, value of the reaction. So difference in the mass is there, delta and mass defect. And energy released is equal to delta mc square. When energy is released in all this reaction, this energy we call it as Q, value of energy. So there are different types of fission reaction. One of the most common given by Hahn and Strassman in 1938, that when uranium-235 is bombarded with thermal neutrons. Thermal neutron means slow neutrons. Slow neutron means less energy neutrons. Okay. It splits into barium and krypton with emission of 3 neutrons along with about 200 mega electron volt energy. So this is called Hahn and Strassman equation, and it is very common. So this reaction can be represented by uranium 92-235 thermal neutrons. They are thermal neutrons. Slow moving neutrons fitting into barium, krypton plus 3 neutrons plus Q, amount of Q, which is equal to 200 mega electron. Barium 141, this is 56. Barium 140, this is 56. 36, 141, and 90. 56 and 36. Mass numbers and atomic numbers. 92, charge number 56 plus that is 90. 235 plus 1 mass, 236 mass number also conserved. Here 92 for krypton and 3 neutrons are there. 92 plus 3, 95 plus 141, 236. And Q is the energy given by this equation delta M. This is equal to, and this about to what the value you are getting, and this is you are getting as 200 mega. So this equation is simple one, and you have to learn this. And mass defect in this particular equation is coming. What is the mass defect? Product mass is slightly less than the reacting component mass. This mass defect you have learned it is 0.2153. 0.2153 atomic mass defect. So the energy calculated you can see that so 1 AU is equivalent to 931 mega electron. So energy released is equal to energy 0.2153 mega electron. They are equal to 200 mega electron. So this value is 200.4. So 200 mega electron. So this much energy released during the fission of single uranium-235, and this energy is shared by all these different parts: fission fragments, neutrons, and some electromagnetic radiation, that is gamma radiation. So this energy appears in the form of kinetic energy of fission fragments, release neutrons and gamma rays. So you can imagine that this kind of energy released in a very, very fraction of a second, even about 10 to the power minus 9, less than 10 to the power minus 9. So this is nuclear fission reaction. Some other kind of breaking is also available. You can Google that. This is one such one by strands and happens. So other way, not only barium, other options are also there. It's explained in the NCERT. You can see for that also. So this is the most common in that. So if nuclear fission reaction is taking place continuously, that means you are getting so many neutrons. These neutrons will again go and make fission with another uranium. And if it is going uncontrolled, a huge amount of energy will be there. It leads to an explosion destructive purpose. So that destructive purpose we see in the nuclear bombs, atomic bombs. But if it is controlled, reactions are controlled, we are getting controlled amount of energy. And that can be utilized for peaceful purposes, just like for nuclear reactor, where we produce enough electric energy for various purposes. So next, what is the meaning of chain reaction? Chain reaction means single fission, 3 neutrons are there. These neutrons are secondary neutron, fast moving neutrons. And if you are slowing down with moderators, slowing down with the moderators, in reactor we find out moderators. So the speed will be reduced. Fast moving neutron cannot make fission reaction. Only slow moving thermal neutrons can produce fission. And they can again make fission reaction with the 3 more uranium nucleus. And so that much energy is produced. Again, so there 9 neutrons are produced, they will further produce again 9 fission reactions. So in a fraction of a second, huge amount of energy is released. That is called chain. If it is uncontrolled, leads to the explosion. If it is controlled, can be used for peaceful purposes. So that is about nuclear reaction. Next, we have to see what is nuclear fusion. That is combining of light nuclei to form comparative helium, especially for helium. So this is the source of energy in all the stars that we will continue in the next class. Thank you.